Hey squad, this is Coop from Garage Gym Reviews, and today I'm reviewing the Base Blocks Nordic Plus. This combines a Nordic board, or also known as a floor glute, with a back extension. This one offers a lot of the same capabilities of the previous one I reviewed, which was the Shogun Nordic, but at a much cheaper price. This one is much more budget oriented, but claims to do a lot of the same things. Is it worth buying, or should you just go for the more expensive version, or should you just go with another Nordic option, because there are many available today? You have to stick around to watch. But before I get into the review, I wanna show you how it works. All right, so this is how it works. One is it's a Nordic bench. So just like any other Nordic bench, you can see if you want to do Nordics, slide in, down, back up. But if you want to use it for other things, such as the ability to progress on Nordics, you pull this up, you then lock it into any of these, and it actually locks in. It's a ladder system, but pull that and it locks in. So if you want to just start kind of low and slow, you can then get in, do Nordics. Just like that. But the other benefit is you can take it up higher, and if you take it up high enough all the way, you can use it as a back extension, because this is a 45-degree angle. So just like a back extension, down and up. They also have this removable pad here, so you don't hurt the giblets. One of the things though, this padding, you're not gonna get completely full range of motion, but you get a good enough range of motion. And you can actually stand the unit up against the wall, and it'll store. Okay, now before I get into my thoughts and opinions on the review, I just wanna let you know, Base Blocks sent this for review so I can give my honest thoughts. If you've watched any of our videos, you know that will be the case. In addition to that, if you'd like to purchase it, we'll put a link below the like button where you can check it out. That will take you to their site. They'll pay us a small commission if you purchase it. If you purchase it, it doesn't increase the cost you pay, but does support creators like us. Okay, the idea of combining pieces of equipment into one is really a thing that is becoming more and more popular for gym equipment, because more and more of the purchasers of gym equipment are not just commercial gyms or universities, but they're individual buyers who are using the equipment for their home gyms. And what do home gyms lack? Many times, both funds and space. So because of that, having things that take up the same amount of space as something else, but suddenly it does more than just the one thing, is a very good idea. For instance, I have the Rogue floor glute. That thing takes up so much space. It does one thing, which is Nordics. It doesn't even do them in a progressive way, and you can't do anything else with it, and it costs a lot of money. So companies like Base Blocks coming along and improving, I'm a huge fan of. So let's start with the Nordic portion. When flat is just like any other Nordic board. It has a kick plate on the back, it has ankle rollers that hold or secure your feet in, it's adjustable, and you can do Nordics. But I really think what more and more companies are going towards, and I really think they should, is the ability to do incremental loading or progressively overload your Nordics. Here's what I mean by that. When you use a barbell, you start off with whatever weight you can lift, and over time you increase, right? It's like linear progression. It's the base of building strength in any movement. It's the reason that we recommend barbells, we recommend adjustable dumbbells. We don't just lift 50 pounds for the rest of our life, for 5 sets, for 5 reps, for the rest of our life, and we call it done. No, the way that you improve strength, the way that you increase, is with increasing load or increasing reps. Well, most people cannot do a standard Nordic. You can't just hop on here and do a Nordic. So the ability to progress that is a huge benefit, and being able to do that at a price that most can afford, I think is a huge benefit, and that's what this does. That's what this is designed for, is to progressively overload Nordic. So they have 5 different positions for the back to adjust, and it uses a ladder system similar to what you'd find on most adjustable benches. It does have a locking, they call it the quick lock. It basically locks in the adjustment. I think it's a cool feature. I don't think it's required, but I'm glad that it's on there because it's very easy to use, very quick to use, and does lock the rod in there so that you don't have to worry about it falling off. One reason I'm a little bit skeptical of ladder systems on benches is because it can pop out. It doesn't happen a lot, but it can do it. And so them having a lock on this, I think is a nice feature. But you're able to adjust it up, and then you're able to do Nordics much easier at a shorter range of motion. If you're looking to start Nordics, when I started, I stacked boxes, and it was really annoying, took a lot of time, and also, like, if you're having to use plates or something, it's just like annoying to do. You can start at a shorter range of motion and then over time lower the pad, get to a point where you're doing a full Nordic, which I think is a huge accomplishment for anybody that strength trains or anybody that just wants a healthy, strong posterior chain. Now, in the Nordic position specifically, just because this can do multiple things doesn't mean it's taking up a ton of extra space. In fact, this is actually takes up a smaller footprint than the Rogue floor glute. This is 47 inches long and about 20 inches wide, so it still doesn't take up a ton of space, still quite compact. In fact, I have the Freak Athlete Nordic Mini, which is really one of the smaller ones on the market. This one doesn't take up that much more space than that one, yet has more ability. So you have the ability to progressively overload Nordics, and I would say for just about everybody, like, that's a feature that I would start thinking is almost a necessity for Nordic boards. Like, if you're gonna start them, I don't even know if I'd look to a Nordic board that didn't have it for a lot of you, unless you're just on a really low budget, because it's so beneficial. Now, the other thing that this can do though, is it can also be used as a 45-degree hyper, or a hyper extension, or what's also known as a back extension. So you lift it all the way up, you put the rod in the ladder, and it's actually the orientation that it's in right now, and then you can use it as a back extension. It's actually a pretty smart way they're doing this. It has a total capacity of 330 pounds, so I personally don't feel really comfortable with a barbell and a ton of weight on my back doing back extensions on this. If you're looking for something that does that, I would just get a standalone unit or something like the Shogun Nordex. But for the price, you can attach bands or just use light weights. You'll still be able to do back extensions. That doesn't mean there's not any problems in this orientation. I want to be clear on this. This thing is designed, it seems to me, like primarily for Nordics. That's why they call it the Nordic Plus. And then they just added some extra functionality. But I will say this, if you're looking at this unit and you're thinking this is just gonna replace a standalone back extension, it doesn't. It's not quite there. The Nordex, I think, does a much better job of it. It's also more than double the price, so you have to factor that in there. But the thing with the back extension is the highest it goes is 45 degrees. Number two, it doesn't have an adjustable length on the pad. So for me, it feels fine. But if you were shorter than me, it would not feel fine. Like, you'd actually have trouble with your hips, or you had different proportions. Or if you're really tall or have really long legs, it's also gonna feel off. So that's, I feel like, somewhat of an overlook for them, but they probably just had to do it to meet the price point. One thing that they do have on this is a company called Sorinex. They have this, it's called the Man Canyon pad. It's basically a way to take out a pad and then have room for the area, what should I call that? For the reproductive portion of the male, for the center region of the male body. But they have a removable portion in that section to make it more comfortable. That said, you have to remove it with these toggles on the bottom. It's just like, feels like they found the problem and were like, let's quickly come up with a solution, and that's the solution they came up with. I'm glad they have it if you want to remove it, and you don't have to if you don't want to, but it would be nice if it was a quicker way to remove it, because every time you use the back extension, if you're a male, you're probably gonna wanna use it. So to the value, you're getting a full Nordic that actually works really well and a back extension that kind of works for 425 bucks with free shipping. Which, when I compare that to others that are out there, let's take the Rogue floor glute, 600 bucks, not including shipping. You see the Sorinex poor man's glute, which for a poor man, it's still like 600 bucks or so. So pretty expensive. Then you have the other options that are like combo units. So you have the Tib Bar Guy option, which is 715 bucks to be able to do kind of stuff that this one does. They have their cheaper option, but you also have the Freak Athlete Nordic Mini. That's 250 bucks. So here's kind of where I'm at. If you're on a really, really base budget, 250 bucks, go with the Nordic Mini. If you just like don't care about the ability to do this or can't afford it, just go with that one to get it done, and you can come up with makeshift solutions. If you're like most other people and you want the ability to use a back extension that's kind of works okay, but you also want the ability to do the incremental usage of the Nordics, then I would say this is the option for 425, because other than that, you're going all the way up to the Tib Bar Guy around 715, which I haven't used it yet, but it just doesn't look like that great of a unit. Or I'd go higher. Really what I would go to is the Shogun Nordex, which is absolutely amazing. We've done a review on it. I love that piece. But if you're looking at this thing for 425 bucks, you're probably not looking to spend double that. And the functionality of double that, although I think it's there, Many of you are probably just looking to use it mainly for Nordics, and so I would go with this one. This is one that I would actually recommend for the price, and I would actually probably recommend it over the Nordic Mini for most of you just to spend more. Yeah, it's quite a bit more from 250 bucks, but man, I think you're just gonna get so much more use out of this and really be benefited by it more than the Nordic Mini. You get what you pay for. So the padding isn't incredible. The vinyl, it's not that great. The metal, it is using steel, but it's pretty thin. I wouldn't use this weighted on the back extension. These are all the rollers. They're okay. It does have wheels and it does stand up, which is nice. Maybe they listened to our reviews on wanting a Nordic bench that stands up. I think a low price covers a lot of sins on the design aspect. So I would actually recommend this to quite a few of you that are looking for a Nordic. Now, one thing that's nice about this is assembly time. Sometimes these come completely disassembled. This one came mostly assembled. It took 5 extra minutes, but one thing I do want to note is we do have a bent leg on this. I would guess that if you have a bent leg like this, Base Blocks would take care of it and replace it, but these are honest reviews, and so we review it as we get it. So because the way we got it does have a bent foot, I just wanted to let you know. Have you used a Nordic? Are you trying to be able to do Nordics? And have you seen the lot that are out there? Because there are so many, and I think there's many more forthcoming. I've heard from a few different companies that they're working on solutions too. So it may be worth waiting for those, or if you don't want to wait, for most of you, this is probably what I'd recommend. It's right in that sweet spot on price and also features. This has been Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'll see you next time. Peace.